So I will wait for the live stream to connect. So as you see, we rolled around in the flowers this morning. I want to congratulate those who climbed Mount Arbel, including Rabbi Lana's daughter. She was great. And it was, yeah, it's, if you want to ask them a little bit about it, it's Mount Arbel covered with springtime flowers this time of year. And we had a chilly breeze, but a beautiful view of the Sea of Galilee as well. And we will have some other people joining us today. And I think it's a very rich day. It's a very intense program because it's a short program. And we would like to give you as many experiences as possible. So you tell me when we're connected. Okay. So I have to address them. So welcome back to our second day of the 9th Annual Women's Encounter here in Magdala. And we are going to begin with the second part of our keynote address by Dr. Marta Rodriguez. And before we begin, I just want to put us in context since we're jumping into a river, right? The context is that we're trying to get everything covered with this water, everything wet, our minds, our hearts, the dialogue we would have with the transcendent, with the Lord, right? So we're going to jump into that. Yesterday we began with our minds, okay? So we're going to continue with the philosophical aspect, the part of reason, so that we can have this space open. And we're trying to answer a question for ourselves and for those around us and for the society, for the world in general. Who do you say that I am? Who is a woman? Who am I? Who are you? So I think we can help each other with that. So now that we have that clear, let's go ahead and get started with the second half of our conference. This will be at least an hour where she'll be speaking because I want to give her as much time as we can, plus questions and answers. We can extend it a little bit further. There's no problem there. So it depends on you and the questions you might have. Ask everything you'd like. She can handle anything, I think. So let's welcome Marta, Dr. Marta Rodriguez back.
I have a good news. Today, I'm not speaking about Hegel. We left him behind. Okay. Can you hear me? Okay, like that? Okay. Okay. So, yesterday we said many things, and I'd like you to get involved before I keep talking and developing the ideas I wanted to share with you. I wanted to stop and answer to some check-in questions. You can't hear me. Okay. Let's see. What do I make fall before? The computer, the microphone, or that? Let's see. You can bet. Okay. So I want you to answer to this question so we can go back to the reflection that we did yesterday, that we shared yesterday, and to try to answer in a more personal way. But in order to do that, I want to share with you a little game that I like. Okay. So can you please go into that QR? All of you. Then you can go to, okay, I'm going to tell you, you can go to Mentimeter, www.mentimeter, and I'm going to give you a code so you can go in there. Okay. Wait a sec. You just have to make a picture of that, and then it leads you to the...
Oh, I took a picture.
Okay. Well, it should. And if not, you can go to Menti, and this is... Okay. Copy link. I know there's the code.
So it's not taking the picture? What is it?
Yeah. There you go. But... Okay, sorry. I wanted to... There you go. Are you in? Okay. You can do that. I know you are. Okay. Are you all in? If someone doesn't have her phone here, you can go to Mentimeter and then put this code. 15240491. It should work, okay? So we are going to answer to those questions, but we are going to do it together so we can see. Wait, where are you going? Okay, what's a woman? You can answer, you can put as many answers as you want. No, you can put, I think, 4. Okay, so.
Very interesting.
Feel free, as you see, it's anonymous.
I was wondering about that.
Totally. What's a woman? According to you, not according to. Okay, we've got 7 answers. We need more. I want at least 25.
You want at least 25?
Yeah, well, so we can. I mean, only 7 people have answered. You all have to work. It's not that I'm the only one that is working here today. Okay, so go for it. Okay, we have 8 answers. Don't be shy. I know you are tired. I hope you've got coffee. No, you are not in. Okay, you see the code 1524 above. You can see the code to go into the menti.com.
Sorry, I can also just run to my room and get my phone.
Don't worry. I mean, you can share with her. www.menti.com and then this code. Do whatever you feel like. I mean, just. Okay, we have 9 answers. There, you can see it. 1524. This, I can see that this works more with young people, but we can do it. We can do it. Okay. Okay, let's see. We've got 11 answers. I hope we can get some more. But what's a woman? A beautiful human being. God's masterpiece. A human being with vagina. A human being who can also bring forth children through herself. Whoever feels like she's a woman. A human being created in the image of God. Female human being. A human person with biological XX chromosomes. Female human being. A woman's true self is made in the image of God. A human being who has XX, how do you say that? Genes, and whose person, a soul and body, is feminine in her expression of human nature. Okay, we've got some more answers here. Feminine genius, challenge. What's a woman? Challenge. Wow. That can be read in many ways, ¿no? Es una persona de sexo femenino creada por Dios a su imagen y semejanza. A beautiful being, full of love, tender, with great heart. Okay. Female being, hija amada de Dios. Okay. We can see here that we depart from different points of view. Okay. And we have 2 days to maybe mature in the ideas that we bring. It's not that we have to change idea, but maybe we enrich the idea with we come. Okay. BBB. BBB, what does it mean? Beautiful. I think it means beautiful, brave, and no. Es a person created at the image of God and likeness of God, created for an end and with a specific identity, created to communicate life. Motherhood is something that is specific of her. Okay, we've got just 19 answers. I forgive you for this one, but let's go for the second one. Okay, it is easy to know what a woman is. Is it easy? Because we've seen now many different answers. So
we have to continue.
Yeah, you have to. Yeah, you keep working.
No pressure.
No pressure. You keep working. Don't relax. The ones that are following us by streaming, they can also go into Menti and participate, okay? You can see the code above, and you can also work and share with us.
It used to be.
Okay, it is easy to know today what's a woman. The ones that are following us, okay, not sure it's growing.
Interesting.
Okay, this is interesting because we've got many different definitions before, like from being with a vagina and female and motherhood and very different points of view. But here, what we say is that it's easy to know what a woman is, but we don't agree with that. It's easy to know, but there's no much agreement on that. I just point it out. It's interesting. Okay, we've got just, okay, 19. Okay, let's go for the next one. How do you describe femininity? You can put 1 or 2 words, but you have like 4 or 5 chances, so you can put many words, okay? How would you describe femininity? Yesterday we said that we put the question, how do womanhood and femininity relate to each other? And now we ask, how do you describe femininity? Why I do not say anything? Don't be shy.
We're still thinking of the third word.
Okay. You can put many. So 1 word, enter. 1 word, enter. Yeah. You have 4 entrances. So there we go.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, the program is made in a way that the words that are more repeated are bigger. So now the word that we have repeated the most is motherhood, and then empathy and beauty. That means that more than 1 people have said that, and as many people they repeat that word, it becomes bigger and bigger.
Yeah.
Okay.
So really, there, motherhood and empathy are
The biggest,
size.
yeah. And then beauty and receptive.
Yeah.
Let's see. Okay. I see you more inspired. I'm glad for that. I think you are waking up. That's good. Okay. I can see that we have a good self-esteem here. Okay, motherhood. Let's see with what we've said. Motherhood, empathy, and beauty. Receptive are the biggest ones.
Yes, they are.
But then we have some words that are related: childbearing, maternal, nurture.
Yeah.
And then to beauty, you can see also belleza, grace.
Yeah.
Then, yeah. And then empathy, tenderness, decade, sympathetic, embracing, butterfly-like, receptivity, humanizer, compassionate, okay? I think maybe, Kathleen, what we can do is we can print this out and hang it somewhere.
Yeah.
So at the end of the tomorrow afternoon, we can go back, you can go back and see if you have enriched what you first thought.
Okay.
Just for you. It's not that we have to arrive to the same conclusion, but if we are reflecting, we are praying on those themes, it's interesting to see, okay, if it's something has changed or has been enriched in my mind. Okay, last one. What are the main challenges to live fully your femininity? Where are they? Inside, outside, social, whatever.
That's interesting.
Mm-hmm. Main challenges.
But here it's like a whole sentence, right?
Yeah. We've got 6, 8. Here I want 20 answers, so work. At least. And again, I invite the ones that are following us by streaming, they can also share. And then we'll read them. Don't copy. You first work, then you can see. $14. Okay. Good work. 3 more.
How many characters? Because mine doesn't seem to fit.
I'm not sure. I think short sentence.
It's not going through. Oh, yeah,
Okay.
but
Okay. So, what are the main challenges? Working with men. Confusion that have been created around it. Received as someone with authority or capable of contributing. Not valued externally. Society biases. Respetarse, to respect oneself with dignity. De toda la creencia, Dios nos veo. Creo. Okay. That God, knowing that God created us. Social standards, expectation of what I should be, standard of what a feminist looks like. Being respected and loved as a full person, not only body or appearance. God, relationship with oneself, and a healthy relationship with others, especially with men. To always give and give. Wow. The social, cultural, and educational aspects. To remain empathetic, kind and gentle, and still be determined and strong in this harsh work without being hurt. I think someone that reads better English should read it, but anyway. I think the main challenges are from the traditional societies. Lack of time due to life nature. Lack of time, I think, no?
Yeah.
Okay. Internal beliefs that have been shaped by family, culture, and personal heights and lows. El sistema cultural, cultural system. Life challenges require strong characters. The low esteem society has for the feminine, from jokes that denigrate to lower salaries for care work. El pudor, el respeto a la dignidad de la mujer, la libre expresión sin respeto humano. El pensamiento de la sociedad actual, sobre todo el relativismo. El pensamiento de la sociedad actual. You could translate it better than me, Kathleen. Yeah, come here. Okay. Lee y la del pudor, hija. Es que lo del pudor a mí se me complica. Pudor.
Current society. Okay. El pudor, that means modesty, respect for the dignity of the woman, and free expression without human respect, without worrying about what other people are thinking.
Then here.
And then modern thought in our society, especially relativism. Influence, let's see. Well, I think it's the influence of different information that we receive and beliefs that we receive. That we receive through different, like, social media or different means of communication. So information and diversity in, well, diversity of information and things that we receive.
You see, it's not that easy. Thank you, Kathleen. Okay. Challenges include feeling threatened and needing to prove oneself or defend oneself in hostile, male-dominating settings. Pride and soon too can challenge living well my feminine identity. Okay. Okay. To understand the specific role of women. Okay. Thank you very much. I think this is the last one. Yeah. For sharing these answers. I propose, Kathleen, that we can share these answers so we can go deeper in what we said today, okay? And now I'll try to enlighten a little bit what we did yesterday, because yesterday we just departing from a paradoxic situation that we are living. We said that we are living in a society that is being feminized, okay, every day more and more. And at the same time, today is not clear what a woman is. And we've seen it here, no? What a woman is, and we've got many different definitions, no? With very different points of view. And we saw this documental where we could see that in some cultures, in some moments, asking what a woman is can be something discriminated, can be something that makes people feel upset, uncomfortable. So it's kind of strange, no? Women are disappearing, but society is being feminized, okay? So we are asking ourselves what a woman is, if we have to keep talking about women, no? Because yesterday we saw these three rivers that have put into question what women are, but also what femininity is. And if femininity is what we have always understood that femininity is, no? And we saw the critics of feminists of this idea of femininity that underline some aspects that put women in a second place. No? And then we stopped in the gender in the introduction of the term gender, and we said that there are different theories about gender and how gender and sex are related. So yesterday we just looked back just to see how we arrived to this situation. Today, I'm going to try to give a vision, okay? What makes us men and women? That's the point, no? What makes us men and women? And I'm going to begin with gender theories. What do they say? And then I'm going to give my proposal, okay? Because gender theories say that what makes us feel and identify, remember Monet, Stoller, and these psychologists, usually they say they have like three main factors, three main elements, okay? Usually gender theories put the whole emphasis, some say that my identity is given by my sex, my biology. I'm going to explain it more after. Other theories say that my identity is given by culture. And other theories say that my identity is given by freedom. Okay, so let me explain a little bit on that, okay? So some theories say, the way I feel, the way I identify myself, my the way I look to the world, my behavior is determined, is very strongly marked by my sex. No, some of you said was a female, what's a woman, a female, a human person with vagina. No? What makes you? I don't want to, no, but what makes you a woman? No, that you have a sex. No, the question is if that sex is accompanied by an identity with some characteristics, with some, no, if that biological aspect has psychical aspects involved. That's the question. No? How do they relate? If it's something just physical or also psychical. No? Some theories say, okay, everything or the most of our identity comes from our sex. So women's and men characteristics, roles, and functions emerge from their sex. No? Everything comes in a natural way from our biological constitution. Okay? In that vision, you could think that gender is an unnecessary term, because it's like, oh, it comes like, is this a distracting term? No? Why do we have to talk about gender? We are men and women, and that's it. Okay? In that vision, gender is not necessary, and some people think that it's even dangerous. No? Like, because since it can be interpreted in many different ways, it's like, okay, I don't know what's the meaning that you are giving to this term, so it's not very clear. How are we going to talk about gender if there are many different definitions about that? Okay, so these theories, this vision, hold that the distinction between men and women is very natural, and everything is natural. Culture has a small impact on that. Okay, this is an explanation. Some other gender theories say that what makes us be men and women, our identity, is given by culture, that in postmodernity is more called discourse. No? Discourse. Our friend Foucault. We have a common friend here. Why? Because postmodernity is very conscious that all our experiences are already immersed in cultural categories. So what I'm saying is, before I do an experience, I'm already inside a cultural world. I'll put an example, okay? So I try to be more clear. The experience I do of my body.
Of your what?
My body.
Okay.
Okay. The feelings I have with my body when I'm a girl. Okay. It's not the same that I grow as a woman in a culture where women are well valued, or if I grow in a culture where women are less. The kind of feelings that I have for my own body when it develops, when I discover that I'm becoming a woman, will be impacted, will be influenced by the fact that I'm involved in a culture that makes me feel that it is positive or not that positive. I'm explaining myself. Another example. The feelings, I'm going to confess myself. I spent my whole adolescence on a diet, okay? My whole adolescence. Why? Because the atmosphere, the culture I was in, valuated a lot girls that were very thin, and I wasn't. So the feelings that I had with my own body were reflecting the values of my culture. If I had grown in the 60s, and I see now the pictures of Marilyn Monroe, she's fat. She was quite fat. She's curvy.
She's shapely.
See, okay. Well,
Envelope.
Okay. What's shapy, curvy, fat?
Maybe
The way I feel with my own body is very impacted by the cultural values I'm in. So this can seem something very stupid, but think how my experience of my body, the feelings that I have for my body, are already immersed in a culture that influences that experience. I'm explaining myself? Okay, so what I'm saying here is that some gender theories say, okay, if experience and knowledge is very impacted by culture, also self-identity is impacted by culture. Yesterday, I talked about Nancy Chorodo, no? And when she said, okay, the qualities and that we see in men and women are more determined by the way they are grown than by their bodies, because we don't have to talk about the biology as something that is tyrannic. Tyrannic? Oh, tyrannic.
Can you repeat this whole sentence again?
Okay. No, tyrannic, no. Okay. Nancy Chorodo said the qualities that we see men and women are the result of education, not a consequence of biology. Okay. And there I explained you how she said, okay, if identity is developed by the psychical processes that we do with our experiences, okay, those experiences are already immersed in cultural categories. So our identity is what is a woman like? It depends. No? She says, okay, now, for example, I'll put you an example. We did an experiment. Well, I didn't. Susie, a collaborator that we have, a teacher in the university. She had a group of students, men and women, 21 years, and she asked, okay, what are the words that come to you when you listen to the word femininity? And the answers were goals, empowerment, objectives, autonomy, etc.
Are you sure it wasn't feminism?
No, femininity. And then she asked, okay, and what are the words that come to you when you listen to masculinity? And they weren't able to say a word. Woohoo. None of them. Not the girls or the boys. And at the end, they just said, fear to women, fear of women. Okay, this is not something exhaustive, but it's something interesting, no?
But the question was goals. What are your goals?
No, the ideas, the
Okay,
words.
your
Okay,
mind.
so goals, empowerment, autonomy, no, whatever. Okay, I don't know. I don't think that those would be the words that would have come to me if they have asked me when I was a teenager. No, I don't think so. No, or to you. No. So what's a woman? It depends. They say on culture. No. When I was little, we saw movies, and we all the girls wanted to be saved by a prince, and now princesses save princes, no, in all the movies. So now my nieces and nephews want to save the prince. They don't want to be saved. They want to save the prince. Yeah, no, I'm going to save you. Oh, I wanted to be saved. No, so they say, okay, the qualities, the feelings, the characteristics, the way you look to the world, it depends on culture. So I'm a very different woman than my grandmother was. The way I behave, the way I treat men, the way am I more woman or she was? So what's essential? What's characteristic? No, because the way we are has changed a lot. So this kind of gender theories say, okay, the identities, what you think is a woman, and these characteristics and these roles is a result of culture, and it changes. No, before women were saved by men, and now it's the opposite, and that's it. So there's nothing that should remain. Okay. Another kind of gender theories put the main factor in freedom. This is very typical from young people right now. No, they say, okay, the important thing is the way you feel. Yesterday we said something about that. No, who you are, who you want to be. No, that's where the idea of self-determination of gender comes from. No, the important thing is what you decide you are. No, and this is something very strong in young people. I used to listen a lot of YouTubers, young people, so I can understand what they say and connect with them. And this is an idea that comes out very often. No? The important thing is what you feel, what you want to be. No? Because you shouldn't be changed or linked or by society or by your biology. You are who you want to be. No? This is something very strong. So what defines personal identity is what the person decides and feels to be. That's it. Okay? And the important thing is that you are authentic with what you feel inside. This is something very evaluated today. Okay? So the question was, what makes us men and women? And I've told you that there are like different views. What do you think makes us men and women? Tin, 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 tin.
The three of them.
Okay?
I think
The three of them. Thank you. Who else?
Well, I think also divine revelation, that God actually reveals to us what it means to be
Mm-hmm.
a woman. And to marry, we see as an example.
Where would you put that? Maybe the spirit or the soul, like a different,
Yeah, a new category.
a new category? Okay.
But it's not only that. I mean, also the biology shows us, and I think culture is formed through divine revelation that forms the culture. So if you are in that culture, then it's good.
Okay. Okay. So she says the three of them. You say, okay, we should put another category, that category added to those. That is like God's image and likeness. Okay. Who else?
I will say that is the sex because how could you explain, for example, when Spain and America wasn't conquered, the behavior of both societies was almost the same as families and society. Perhaps it was more developed one than other, but it was the same behavior as woman and men. So it was no communication between, but the behavior was the same. So sex will be the answer.
Okay. Sex. Who else? Feel free.
May I follow up on what you said, that it is a combination of sex and culture because both communities were patriarchal, chauvinistic, the patterns, so it was not just generated by sex, but it was generated by like a world culture that had no specific role for women outside their cage.
But they cannot communicate by each other, and they were doing the same. So it's nature.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Someone.
I think freedom.
The three of them.
No, I think two, because if you decide you want to be a bird, then you become a bird. So that's your gender. I mean, like that's where I feel like. So it's like I feel like some people are using it to manipulate the mind and in order to just you can feel whatever you want to be a butterfly, that's fine. So your gender is a butterfly. Or I feel like the freedom in all contexts has been
Overrated.
yes. Overused, and has the boundaries of freedom have been broken. And
Okay.
that's where for me, I draw the line with the freedom part. So it's like sex and culture.
Okay. Thank you. Last one.
El sexo es obvio, somos mujeres. La cultura, soy mexicana. Y tú ayer pusiste a 3 partes de lo que te queda marcado, de lo que vas arrastrando. Obvio, la cultura nos sigue. O sea, por mucho que yo quiera ser muy liberal, tengo una cultura, tengo una raíz que voy jalando. Y también lo de ser lo que yo quiera, creo que eso llega como al extremo, el liberalismo de lo que no sé. Entonces, como no soy una persona coherente, pues ahora voy a hacer lo que se me dé la gana, lo que me sienta a gusto.
Okay, so you say sex and culture.
Sí.
Okay, Father, how do you feel?
So you're asking me for a definition.
I'm asking which of these
But
elements.
we're sort of defining what a gender or what, and the problem is, as you said, is postmodern culture don't accept definition. Because to define something, you have to have universal criteria. And that's where it goes back to what you were talking about and how the philosophy so influences today's thought, because postmodernism doesn't accept the fact that you can define, because definition means constantly change, right? So before the different tendencies that you talked about, and especially the German school that affected psychology, that's why I studied that in psychology, is you used to have a definition. A man was this, a woman was this, and then you could argue about the definitions that were somewhat universally accepted. Men tended to seek strength, tended to be the protectors, women. But if you don't have any sense that you can have a definition like that, you end up without the ability to define clearly. Because of course, all three are part of a true definition of who we are, body and spirit, remember, so it can't be just body and spirit. And we're also, so the spirit is the freedom element, the body is the sexual element, and the culture is the family and surrounding elements. So all three have to be part of a real definition. But if you can't define freedom, if you can't define culture, and what they're saying is you can't define sex, then we're in trouble. And that's why this is also different.
Okay, thank you very much.
Imposed on us, but for some of us who have been active in civil society for many decades, awareness raising, consciousness raising, which is what you're doing right now, as a matter of fact.
The person and identity. Okay? What I'm saying, okay, this is a distinction that comes from Robert Spemann, Romano Guardini, Carol Wojtyla. I'm moving in that. Okay? They said it's not the same the person that is a who, that is unique and irrepetible. Unrepeatable. Okay? Unique. This you can't define a person because a person is not a what, it's a who. Okay, this is a who that is unique and that is that unrepeatable. And another thing is the consciousness that the person has of herself. That could be that is called the identity. It's like the I, the psychological I, what I understand of myself, okay? It's not that they are the opposite, they are obviously related, but they are different levels of deepness, okay? Because we are always much more than what we understand of ourselves. It's like this is like could be at the drawing of an iceberg, okay? So in the iceberg, there's much more inside than what you can see. And that happens with our identity, okay? So we are always much more than what we understand of ourselves. That's why we keep discovering ourselves with the years. You knew yourself when you were 20, but then at 40 you say, "Ooh, that's interesting." And then at 50, and then you keep discovering the mystery that you are. And what Romano Guardini said, the real name that we have We will discover it when we arrive to heaven and God will pronounce it. Because until then, we are always like a mystery for ourselves. No? So one thing is the person that is a who, is not a what. It's a who, an unique who. No? And the other thing is the consciousness that the person has of herself. Okay? What I'm proposing is that sex is not an attribute of personhood, it's constitutive. Okay, this is John Paul II, but not only him. That means that sex touches body, soul, or psyche, if you want, and spirit. Okay? This is his proposal. I'm going to go here now, and I'm going to go back to gender theories, okay? But in the fundament, I propose, I think, that sex touches body, soul, and spirit, okay? This is John Paul II. And that means that we are not women or men because our body is sexist. But it means that our body manifests a difference that is founded in a deeper level, okay? Our body is sexed because we are sexed, not we are sexed because our body is sexed. I'm explaining myself? Sexual. This is so tiring. Okay.
Gender.
No, I'm going to arrive to gender. Okay. So this is like the fundament, okay? But let me stop because I said that identity is the consciousness that we have of ourselves. Sometimes there are some, how do you say, interferences, okay? And this doesn't relate only to sex. It relates to many aspects. For example, I can have suffered an abuse, and I'm convinced that I am ugly or that I am dirty.
Or unlovable.
Unlovable. Or I can have suffered an abandonment, and I'm convinced, I develop an identity that is convinced, radically convinced, that I am, that I can't trust anyone, that I'm going to remain alone anyway, and that I have to control everything by myself because I can't depend on anyone. So we realize, we can see that many times our identity has biases because we don't know what we really are. We know the result of some experiences that we have interpreted in a way, but that we put ourselves in a mirror that don't reflect our real image, but something a little bit distorted, okay? So I propose, I hold that sex touches the deepest fundament of person, okay? That can be defined a person. It's a who, not a what. You can define a what, not a who, okay? But I go here and I propose that identity, and then we can say gender identity if you want. Gender identity requires the integration of body, culture, psyche, and freedom. Okay? And this is not that easy. Okay? Let me explain. Okay, you see. Gender identity is the result of integrating a complexity of elements. Okay? And I'm going to say something about all of them. Okay, our body. As I said, I propose that the sex is not in the body, it's manifested in the body. Okay, the don't understand the concepts of person, nature, teleology. We have to recover those words, I think. But if we are talking in the debate, and I think we can talk in this level here. I think we should have two languages, no? And know where one language can be understood and this can't be understood. Okay, I think. So I'm talking here and I said, gender identity, the identity I have as a woman or as a, requires the integration of a bodily experience of culture, psyche, and freedom. So yesterday I talked to you about, and today also, Nancy Chorodo, and what she said that our characteristics come mostly of the way we are grown and not that much of our biology. But then afterwards, she changes her mind a little bit. She's a psychoanalytic, and she says, no, I have to reconsider what I said because I have to admit that our biological condition makes a difference. And let me, I think I have a sentence here. Where are you? No, but look at it that. Okay. I now think that bodies, especially our sexual and reproductive bodies, primary and secondary sex characteristics from birth and throughout the developments of adolescence, reproductivity, the erogenic zones that Freud described, libido and drive, and all these experiences intrinsically demand psychic and fantasy elaboration and representation that are likely to get embroiled in conflict. But our biological makeup makes a difference. Genitals, breasts, arousal, menstruation, erection, ejaculation, these are will be psychically and culturally elaborated in a way that shoulders or feet will not. Okay? So remember, she said, okay, if identity in a psychological way, I'm moving myself here, I'm not giving like the fundamentals, like I'm moving myself, I'm here. That's in a psychological level, okay? If we understand that identity comes from the processes that we do with our experiences, she says, okay, there are some experiences that are deeply marked by our body, which are menstruation, etc., that require a psychical elaboration that have an impact, that need to have an impact. It doesn't mean that determine us, it doesn't mean that give close characteristics or roles, no, but gives us like a modalidad relational modality. This is an idea that is very defended by some feminists, the feminists of difference that I told you about yesterday. No, my body gives me a way of being in the world. No, because if every experience I do it with my body that is sexed, it has to have an impact. No, in the way I relate. No, it doesn't have to be translated into roles, characteristics, or whatever. We'll see that. But it gives me a relational modality, okay? So the first element that we can't put into brackets, that we can't ignore, is that our experience, no? The bodily experience that we have is not something that is mute. It's something that speaks of me, no? And I think is you can just ignore it, okay? But as important as our body is our culture. I don't think there's a priority. I'm talking here, the identity. No? It has an impact in my identity. As strong as my body, the culture I live in. No? Because as I told you, the experience I do of my own body is very strongly marked by the cultural environment that I move in. It's not the same to grow white in a culture where everything has dark skin, or to grow dark skin. It marks the way I feel, the way I look to myself, and the way I relate to the others. Does it mean that I have to be determined? No, but it has a strong impact in the experience I do of my body. So culture is not separated from our body. The interpretation I do of my bodily experience uses a mediation that is cultural a language that is culture. So I think we as biological as cultural beings. It's not that we are more biological than cultural. If we were more biological, we would be animals, and we are not. So culture plays as an important role as biology, I think, no? In our identity. No? So she says, but okay, no, because I'm talking about Nancy Chorodo with my friend. I don't agree with everything she says, but I like you very much because she rejects the idea of Judith Butler and some others that say that we are a construction of culture. No? She says we are not, because we receive the cultural data in a personal way. No? We can be all immersed in the same atmosphere, but there's a space inside the psyche that makes you receive that influence in a different way. So she says, subjectivity is also constituted by an inner world, okay? A culture, however hegemonic or internalized it may be, does not determine the personal meaning of gender. Because you can see, we can be twins, and we can be grown in the same culture, and one can be developed very feminine characteristics, another can develop another kind of identity. So
where does this inner world come from?
She says from the fantasy and psyche, and she uses very psychoanalytic. I'm moving here.
So it's like the whole elaboration.
Yeah. I'm not talking about the spirit, and I'm just talking in this level, okay? Though I think they are very related, no? But I think, okay. So I think there's a. She says, here. I argue that an individual personal creation and a projective emotional and fantasy animation of cultural categories create the meaning of gender and gender identity for an individual. Okay, so I'm sorry that this sentence at the beginning is not translated into English. Well, it is translated into Spanish because the original is in English. Because she says, Kathleen, help me please, because I'm getting tired. This one.
From our very first years, la cuota entera del género psíquico.
The culture enters into our. You see, not that easy.
Yeah. Culture enters into our
Psychical gender.
our psychic gender. These are very interesting words. Yes, in the way that we communicate, nonverbal communication to children about their gender or the gender of the person. The gender of the person with whom they communicate, that helps them to form the foundations of their emotive or their emotional resonance when they're facing or they're trying to deal with cultural categories. So that's a very philosophical definition.
Did you understand that? No, it's okay.
Yeah, good. I mean, sorry.
Okay, thank you, Kathleen. Okay, so that's what I was trying to say, that before we do any experience, we are immersed in a cultural world that creates the foundation of our emotive resonance. No? So as I was saying, it's not the same to grow as a woman in a world where there's equality than to grow as a woman in a world where there's not. I will feel in a different way. No, I will. It's not the same now to grow in an environment where girls want to be saved by princes, or in an environment where girls want to save princesses. Okay, it will have an impact in the way I feel, in the way I perceive myself. So, what is to be feminine? To save or to be saved? Maybe none of them. Or maybe both. But okay, there's okay. So, then Psyche, she says, this is Nancy Chorodo, the psychology of masculinity and femininity is more than the psychology of bodily experience. It's much more, as we were saying, no? and is no more fundamental than the other ingredients that make up the psychology of genders. So I'm saying the development of a gender identity, who am I as a woman, requires the integration of body, culture, psyche, and freedom, but because who is the driver in this process? Freedom. At the beginning, we don't choose much. Well, we do, but little. When we are children, very little children, we are mostly determined by our culture. Not totally, but mostly determined. But little by little, when we grow, as you were saying, and John Paul II says that in Fides et Ratio, we are sons of our culture, but also fathers of our culture.
And mothers.
And mothers, yeah, mothers. Sorry. And the driver of this process is freedom, no? Because gender identity is not something that is like grows as a flower in a spontaneous way. It's something that I have to embrace in a free way. I have to process, to elaborate, and that can be hard in some moments. I mean, it's not something that you do once for your life. Okay, you do it when you are a child, but also in adolescence, then you grow, and so you are born as a woman, but you become a woman. Both of them, of course, because the way you are as a woman is changing every day. You are a woman. I think we are women, okay, or a man. Femininity in a different way. You are becoming the woman you are every day. No? So freedom is the driver of that. No? And there's some thinkers that we follow in Rome, Antonio Malo, and that says that freedom has the task to integrate all these elements in a unique identity, because we are all women and men, no? But we are very different ways of being men and women. No? It's like, I like to use the example, and I'm going to start to close, of the face. You can easily recognize a face of a man and a woman, generally, most of the cases. But each face of men and women is so different. I mean, so you could say the same about femininity and masculinity. Okay, you can recognize that there's something that you say, okay, this is masculine, but the way they is so different. The faces are so different. There are as many masculinities and feminilities as people in the world. It doesn't mean, because we are different who's, and we are different identities that elaborate all this process in a unique way. No? Okay, but I said, and I'm gonna stop here, even if I had some more slides, this modality, relational modality that comes from our body, does it have common aspects? I think so. And this is a reflection that comes also a lot from feminists of the difference. They say, for example, it's not the same to make love outside your body or inside your body. It's not the same to give birth and to give life inside your body or outside your body. So they stop in very concrete aspects of our bodies that they say it does have an impact in the way I relate. It's not that it's not seen as something functionalistic. I don't have sexual relationships, and I'm, as a woman, I think, as the ones that are married. No? But those aspects, the way I experience my body that has these strong differences, gives me a modality of relating to the world and relating to myself. But I think it shouldn't be translated into rigid characteristics roles or functions that change. Those can change. That's why I was saying I'm a different kind of woman as my grandmother was, but I'm as a woman as she was. No? I think, I hope. Because this has a very important role. No? And okay, so I'm sorry I talked too much and I didn't cover the whole thing, but it doesn't matter. Maybe we can stop here and give some minutes for.
What a journey. Huh?
I'm tired. English made me tired. Okay, so how are you? How are you? More confused?
No, but shake it up.
Expanded, okay.
It's what I didn't hear. No, but enriched.
Okay. Kathleen, les quemé el cerebro.
I felt like this last part spoke more to my personal experience. Just listening to it, I felt more identified with that
Okay.
school of thought.
More than the postmodernity and.
But I appreciated how we can glean from these different theories, elements. I felt like you could glean a lot from the different theories.
All of them have something that is true. And we have to recognize that, because I think before we had a very essentialistic idea of manhood and womanhood, no? And we didn't take into account very much what culture and freedom has to do with our identity. That are very important things. So I think gender theories have put that into the center, and I think they are enriching. They should enrich the reflection that we have about women and men, no? Because it's more complex than we thought it was. I think, no, maybe.
I think if we leave out body and soul, which is something that everyone here would I think relate to, and the secular world, the world out there doesn't talk about body and soul, and that should be part of the integration. And I think Father alluded to that or said that, and I think it's a big loss that that's never mentioned, even in theory, in the theory.
Yeah, that's why I was trying to speak in two languages, and I said, I think sex touches body, soul, and spirit.
Spirit, yeah.
Okay, so that in a Christian view, this is the likeness of God. We are a different way of being image and likeness of God, men and women. So that touches like the deepest fundament of our identity, okay? And soul and body. And this is the origin. We are a different type of, a different way of being image and likeness of God. And that's why our soul and body are sexual, okay? This is, okay, I think we have, as you say, to recover this language. But when we are talking in some grounds and some atmosphere, these terms are not understood at all. So I think you can sustain how radical the different sexual difference can be, talking also in this language, no? Demonstrated that you can't put into brackets the bodily experience, culture, and because I think sexual difference is something that touches people in the deepest root of our identity, and at the same time, since we are all unique, it can be expressed in so different ways. So that's the difference between stereotypes and something that is so radical, no? As with the example of the face. You can recognize men and women, but how different are our faces? So there are as many ways of being a woman as women in the world. And they will, because
What is the difference between soul and spirit?
Oof. Referring to Tommaso, that's complicated. Esencia es esencia y acto de ser. Essence and okay, something is the essence. The essence is made by body and soul, and then what makes it exist. This is very philosophical. Is the acto de ser, the act of being. That would be the of God in the okay. This of God is the acto de ser, the act of being. Okay, the spirit. So this is the tripartita división. Es que esto es muy difícil. Okay, this is Augustine, and John Paul II speaks of this different that hasn't been very popular. Usually in Occidente, we talk more about body and soul, and we forget about spirit. I think this is more complete. But anyway.
A frequently asked question that I get is, why does God identify as male?
This is a mistake.
I wouldn't say that God identifies as, but we identify him.
Because
And is that a cultural
yeah, this is something cultural. Okay, because God is not a male or a female.
But Jesus was a male.
Yeah, of course. Okay.
You guys are so amazing. You are stepping right into the next current of our river, and that is revelation. That's excellent.
Thank you.
Mine? No, it's excellent. In fact, I want you to save some of these questions and some of your thoughts and the applications, because I think they're important. We do have a speakers panel at the end. That is on Saturday. And so the people who will be speaking, including Dr. Martha and then Sister and then Rabbi and the others who are presenting, ask them your questions. You'll have a chance as a group to say, what are some of the basic things we would like to clarify? And some of the things we would like to take home with us to say, hey, my brother who now wants to be my sister, or my uncle who is married to his partner, or whatever, how can I love them? And how can I be a little bit more at peace in myself to understand what's happening in front of me and to enlighten? And to enlighten not just with the mind, but with the heart and the experience. So excellent.
To remain at peace with myself.
Well, and that's a whole process, and that's why we have this space. So, isn't she fabulous? Thank you. And I also want to thank all of you who are watching live stream. We do have a number of people, so thank you for also participating in the dynamic that you came up with from the beginning. And so we will come back together again at 11:15 here in the same room. And we're going to, as you said, it was a perfect segue into our next segment. We're going to be talking, that's right, the bridge over the river. We're going to be talking about Revelation. What is it that the Tanakh, that means the scriptures, right, the Jewish scriptures, tells us or reveals to us about feminine identity? And don't forget, we're not talking about a what, I love that, but a who. So who do you say that I am? So please take some moments, and we'll see you back here at 11:15. And God bless you.